So, last weekend I entered my first Jiu-Jitsu tournament. Let's talk about it. About a month ago, I learned that the North American Grappling Association, or NAGA, was holding an event practically right in my backyard. I never planned on competing in BJJ, but when it was so close, I didn't really have a good excuse not to try. Also, my buddy Michael peer pressured me into entering, but then they got injured, and so I was left to compete all by my lonesome. Sorry, Michael. I entered the white belt 30 and over super heavyweight divisions in both gi and no gi. And, well, spoilers. To be honest, I'm going to say that's probably due to the small division size. There was only 3 other guys that entered, and I only had to win 3 matches in order to take both divisions. Turns out there's not that many fat old white belts in Connecticut. But I'm still pretty proud of my wins because technically I still beat every other guy that entered in my division. Not just every bracket, every guy. This video isn't meant for people that already know Jiu-Jitsu. I'm making this video mostly for my friends and family. So I'll be giving basic concepts and descriptions, but not getting super technical or detailed. If you do already know Jiu-Jitsu, what are you doing here? How did you even get here? What are you doing watching footage of a white belt NAGA competition? Go spend your time doing something more productive. Go watch B-Team or Jiu-Jitsu or something. Oh, and if you want to watch them on their own without me rambling over it with commentary, I've uploaded each match as its own individual video, which I'll link in the description. Alright, here we go. Very first Jiu-Jitsu match against Erik Reynolds, who, I mean, look at that beard. That's an intimidating beard. I stepped out into these mats. Very first match, I was terrified. Alright. But I mean, look at my rash guard. Right now I'm thinking, I could be more Viking than this guy. Let's go. The old slap bump. Right now we're just feeling each other out. He gets a good collar tie and tries to snap down, but I see it coming. And I duck under, go for an arm drag. He manages to escape, unfortunately. But if you go back real quick, right after the arm drag here, I give him this grin because I could feel the panic that he had trying to escape that. And I realized, you know, I'm a little bit more confident in this match than he is. And I use that grin repeatedly in here. So I'm not the best double leg takedown, but I'm still pretty proud of it. I set it up by chucking his arm over his head, and what I should have done probably is go for a slip under to take his back. But look at the structure of his legs right there. That's a juicy target. Nice guy. So I get the double leg. We go down into half guard. Half guard is probably my worst position, both on top and on bottom. I'm bad at passing it, and I'm bad at getting out from underneath it.
Yeah, work on getting that leg free.
So what's going on here is basically his legs are preventing my leg from passing through. So what I have to do is get this leg free and get this knee down to the mat so that I can separate it and get on top of him into what's called mount. But he's got it trapped real good. It looks like it should just be able to slide out, but you really can't. And he gets this other leg up to block it, which makes it even more difficult. Okay. So here he's going for a guillotine attempt, which you can't really get a guillotine from that position. It's basically, so to get a choke in Jiu-Jitsu, you have to compress the arteries on both sides of the neck here, see? And that will basically cut off blood flow to the brain, you'll pass out. He's trying to cut off blood flow on one side with his arm and the other side with his body. But because of the angle, there's too much space for me to duck my chin into and protect myself. So it looks like I'm in danger here. I'm really not. I am very confident in my ability to defend myself from this. And you can see it because I'm just kind of taking my time, just working on his wrist, trying to bend it over. I have struggling with that a little bit, so I try to push on the elbow. That's not working, so I go back to the wrist again.
There you go. Now work on getting that leg free.
So once I get this down to the mat, you can see all this space in between his elbow and his body. And I see that, and I immediately decide I'm going to exploit it. And right there, I realize the opening's there. So now I'm going to try to respond with a choke of my own called a head and arm triangle choke. which is basically I'm going to cut off the blood flow using my arm on one side and his own arm pressing up against his neck on the other. First, I have to get my head under there because my head is going to be what's pushing his arm. So right now I have the position. It's not super locked in, and I don't have a lot of control of him. So it's a risky play. You can get away with it at white belt. Higher level people would probably end up sweeping me from here. You can hear my coach saying, like, don't even try. At this point, I get his hips down on one side, and that gives me a lot more control over his body. It gets my knee free from the half guard. And I take a look at him, and I realize, oh, I actually can finish this choke from here. So I reestablish my position, I cinch it up. That cuts off the blood flow, and there's the tap. You can hear my wife in the background, oh shit! Yeah, my coach was just as surprised that worked as I was. One thing you'll see me do as I win these matches is, in order to try to intimidate my opponents, I tried holding up a finger, keeping count of how many submissions I had gotten that day. It was kind of stupid and cringy, and I regret doing it, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. Alright, second match of the day against Ryan Cormier. Now, this is actually, like, by far the most difficult match I had of the day. This was for the finals in no-gi for my division. I gotta say, he put up a hell of a fight, and I think this is definitely the most entertaining match that we had. Shake hands, slap bump. And he starts with just like a ton of early pressure, just like basically trying to bully me out of the mat. I see it coming, and I try to like get him off balance to see if I could do a leg sweep from there, but he's already like adjusted and starts circling around me. So because he's so forward heavy, he's leaving his legs exposed, so I'm able to shoot down for a single, which works out really good. I turn him out to the side. He's going to try to sweep me over here. He almost gets me, but I managed to post my arm out, which prevents me from rolling over. Passed immediately into north-south. Good position for me. I get points for the takedown and for the guard pass. And I flatten him out so he can't just roll over. And I'm trying to find a choke here, but I'm not very good at north-south chokes. So basically, he's able to wiggle around and eventually manages to escape. It turns it into a beautiful sweep. Like, I gotta see that again. This really demoralized me because I was in a very good position, and all of a sudden, our positions are immediately reversed. So I immediately try shrimping out, basically doing what he just did. He blocks my leg. And he starts trying to pass my guard to get up into mount. He's trying to roll me over onto my back, but I see it coming. I'm able to post out pretty easily with my leg. And yeah, at this point I'm realizing I'm leaving my arm exposed, so I'm keeping it tucked into my body so that he can't do any kind of attacks or anything to it, can't try any submissions. But I'm super on the defensive right now, and it's making me nervous. He almost takes my back here. I managed to post out on my arm again. And right now he's going for a head and arm triangle choke, which is what I tried to do earlier. But he's not quite able to get it. I see it coming, I'm blocking it, I'm stopping it from going up into mount by pushing against his hip. And at this point, he gets into my half guard. I managed to trap both his legs so he can't progress into mount further. And he can't really go back either. So now I've kind of gotten us in this stalemate position while I kind of try to figure out what to do from here. He's trying to get the head and arm triangle. He can't get it from this position because of the angle that my hips are at. And he's just tiring himself out trying. And so I decide at this point I'm going to do a little bit of shit talking. And because his ear is so close to my face, I lean in and I whisper, "Hey, old man, you getting tired yet?" Which is a dick move, I know, and he kind of illustrated it as a dick move by responding, "Yeah, man, I'm exhausted." And that just, like, broke my character immediately, and I couldn't be an asshole anymore. And I just responded back, like, "Yeah, man, I'm tired too." And we had a little chuckle, and we got back to it. So yeah, I think it was right there that I think I said that to him. So he's up in mount right now, which is normally a very dominant position, but I'm really good at escaping mount. So you can see I kick my leg out to the side, I trap his leg with this leg, and I've got his arm pinned while he's going for the choke, and I'm able to just kind of roll him over from here. You can see him looking at the clock here, and he's like, oh man, there's still another 2 minutes left. I almost won. So I'm able to get up, start passing guard. I see a immediate opportunity to just kind of like step over his leg here. So I pass pretty easily. I almost get the back, and then I'm really proud of this as well. I'm going for what's called a triangle choke, which kind of like they had an arm triangle choke. I'm compressing one arm against his head with my leg and compressing his neck on the other side with my other leg. This is like a fundamental move in Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm pretty terrible at it just because I'm old and inflexible. So I was really excited that I almost hit this. You could hear everybody in the outs getting excited. Like this guy in the background taking a picture of me almost getting it. It was a pretty intense moment of the match here. I'm pretty proud of this attempt. You see me frantically reaching for my leg to lock it in, but his posture's too high. He ends up stacking me, and he almost manages to get my back here. But I go up into what's called turtle guard, which is a guard position that I'm really good from, and you can see why, because I immediately shuck him off my back, start flipping over, and go into north-south again. And from here, the match is basically over. He starts sitting up, trying to escape, which immediately gives me his back. I get my hooks in. Another 2 points there. His neck is exposed. So at this point, I'm worming my arm underneath his neck, trying to get the rear naked choke. He starts turning to the side and trying to turn into the choke, which is the right defense for it. But as he does that, I start worming. I retract that arm and worm my other arm in. And at that point, it's basically over. There it is. That's the first gold. You can see how excited my wife is. You can see how excited I am. Yeah, it was an excellent match. Excellent match. I'm really happy with how that one went. Ryan gave me a hell of a fight. And after that match, I went up to him and I was like, "Hey man, that was a great fight. Don't worry. When we face each other at the finals of Gi, you'll get me back for that one." And he came up to me and he went, "Man, you tired the hell out of me. I'm not even entering Gi anymore." And I thought he was joking, but then he actually did drop out of the tournament, which was disappointing. I was really looking forward to that rematch, but is what it is. Alright, third and final match of the day. This one's against Jesse Wooten. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Because of the way the brackets played out, basically the two people that I beat in no-gi dropped out of the gi tournament, which was a little bit disappointing. Basically, this one match was immediately for the finals. I would have preferred more than one gi match. It would have made me feel like I earned this gold a little bit more. But I take comfort in knowing that, I beat everyone there, so I guess I earned it. Here we go here. Start with a little slap bump. Get started. And I start with a little attempt at a leg sweep, really just feeling it out, not a committed attempt. And then Jesse pulls, like, I gotta say, I love this sweep he does. He must have been so proud of this. He must have drilled this in training so much in order to hit this in this match, but it was flawless. Makes me step out, turns to the side, sweeps my legs, flips me right over. He tries to go into a knee on belly, but I managed to get out from underneath it. I start working my side control, half guard escape. I get on my knees. He senses I'm going to try to take his back, and so he just stands up, which was probably the smart play. So now we're basically started over again. I give him the same grin I gave the guy in the first round, and he doesn't look happy about it. So we have a much longer of a feeling out process this time. I try another leg sweep, just kind of trying to off balance him, not really attempting to actually get the sweep. Trying to use my head to get him to sit up, and then when he does, I start working my grips much deeper into his collar. My plan here was initially to try to do basically a, like, not a guard pull, but like fall down and then do like a tripod sweep kind of. But I don't feel like that's going to work, because he goes for this leg sweep, and when he does that, he off balances himself, and so I try to go for a over the shoulder throw, but it doesn't work out for me. But when I do, he exposes his leg, and at that point it's basically game over. I get good control of the single, get it in between my legs, and what he does here is he tries to get his foot basically just back down on the mat, which is not what you want to do when you're being the victim of a single leg. Really what you're going to want to do is either pull guard immediately, just concede the takedown and establish a better position, or you're going to want to sprawl out, so get your weight on top of them. So you're pulling your leg not down, but back. But because he pulls his leg down, he ends up putting his weight on it. And when he puts his weight down on it, it looks like I'm about to lose it, but it actually ends up tripping him. Once I get the takedown, I take my time, I establish side control, I get his arm isolated. And from side control, I start feeding the lapel of his gi. So I'm pulling, you can't really see what's happening here, so I'm going to try to describe it. I'm pulling the lapel of his gi basically across like this. I have this hand coming around and fed nice and deep in here. And I'm going to try to go for what's called a bow and arrow choke. But I end up doing a real dick move, and I don't feel sorry about it. So I get that lapel. So the way the bow and arrow choke works is basically you grab the lapel here, and you pull it across the neck, and you're compressing the neck on this side with their lapel, and this side with your own wrist. And it's called the bow and arrow because then you grab their leg, and you're pulling both. Like you're doing like you're pulling a bow and arrow, right? The problem is he decided to try to defend this choke by using his chin, like tucking his chin down so that I can't get the lapel across his chin. But there's this saying in Jiu-Jitsu, especially in competitive Jiu-Jitsu, that everything below the eyebrows counts as the neck. And I'm about to do a real dick move here by demonstrating exactly why that's true. Because the lapel, you can't see it in this angle, it's not across his neck like it's supposed to be. It's across his open mouth, like this. And so instead of choking him out, I am basically just pressuring his lower jaw back into his face, which is such an asshole thing to do. But you do what you gotta do in a tournament. And as you can see, it still works. It doesn't take long. You don't have to choke him unconscious in order to win. And it's dawning on me at this point, I just won double gold. And that's one of the proudest moments I've ever been in martial arts. Now, I do know, like I said, it's just a white belt tournament, but still immensely proud, relieved, happy everything's over. So yeah, that's how my weekend went. Not many matches, but I'm pretty proud of all of them. I want to say thank you to my opponents. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you all learned as much as I did from that experience. Thanks to my gyms and training partners, I wouldn't have been able to win without their help and support leading up to the event. Thanks to my wife for not only encouraging me to compete, but for also paying my entry fee so that I didn't have any excuse not to do it. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. The more people I see engaging, the more it encourages me to make more videos in the future, and maybe we can make this a regular thing. Until next time, thanks for watching.